What's the matter, Belle Belle? You good girl? Huh? Hey everybody, Prepper Nurse 1 here. Today is June 20th, 2018. It is Wednesday. Before I jump into the video, I want to mention this real quick so that I don't forget to mention it later. Today's the last day for the 30% off of all the legacy meats. If you go to my website, preppernurse1.com, I've already reduced the prices there, so the prices you see on the meats now are the reduced prices. As of midnight tonight, they will go back to the normal prices. So if you want to get an order in last minute type of thing here, I get it, just wanted to put it out there so that you guys would know, okay? So that being said, and it's a great deal for the legacy meats. I mean, if you're going to get 30% off, it's definitely a good time to take advantage of it. So let's jump into today's topic of the video. I wanted to talk about executive orders and what kind of things, because of what was put in place in February of 1962, President Kennedy put in the executive orders for the government in case of an emergency can have certain controls, okay? And that was rectified, actually made even worse under Bill Clinton. Okay, so he changed it again. It made it even more controlling. So what are these things as executive orders? What can they control? They basically control anything. If they decide that your, Lamborghini is needed for this national emergency, they can take your Lamborghini. I mean, that's how crazy this executive order is. If there is been a national emergency declared and these executive orders are put in place, they can control everything. Transportation, the highways, food, water, everything. Everything is completely, excuse me, completely controlled by the government. And I don't know if people are aware of this or not, but and like I said, it was also rectified under President Clinton when he was in office. So that's very, very scary. And like I said, it's even more controlling. He put even more controls on it. So, I mean, they can control the internet. If they deem that the internet is part of the issue, they can shut it right down, okay? They can take your cell phones and shut your cell phones down. I mean, it's whatever, they can do whatever they want to do. And here's a good way of thinking about things too. How do you control people? Communications. If you control communications, you control what's being put out there, and there's not any other alternative sources of information being put out. So that is a very, very, very scary situation. I definitely want to hear what you guys have to say about that. What do you think about that? Were you even aware of it? That this has been in place since the 60s. And like I said, and then of course under President Clinton, he even made it worse. So, I don't like that aspect that if they decide for whatever reason, I mean, they could, invent something that, oh, this is a national emergency, we got to lock everything down. That wouldn't surprise me if that was a tool that was used to get what they wanted to have done. But yeah, it's definitely something to think about. I mean, it's like I said, if you go back to what our forefathers founded this country on, it wasn't for the government to get bigger and bigger and bigger and have more and more and more control. It was about men being free. Well, we are not free anymore, my friends. I can tell you that. The amount of control is absolutely insane. Oh, I got to show you who's over here. Who's there? Who's that? There's my babies. Come here, Pandora. Here's a baby girl. Yeah. Caesar, what you doing, Caesar? Come here, big boy. Good boy. Good boy. Yeah. Good babies. So you guys, some of you had asked how the puppies are doing. As you can see, they're doing fantastic. We're working with them because what we had been doing is picking them up and taking them in and out of the house because, they were littler at that point. And now we have it so that when it's time to go out, and they let us know when they need to go. We just take them and open the door and they run right out the door and go out. And so we had that part of it down. So we've been working with them on getting them to come back in the house on their own instead of having to pick them up and carry them into the house. And Heather, hello Heather, said today that she was able to do that today. So that was pretty cool. So I want to talk about like the overreach of what is going on. When I'm going to give you an example of something just as crazy as like the way that the government or local governments and stuff are working, and how things are. It's taxation by theft, realistically. And one of the things I wanted to talk about was, I'm going to give you an example. My mom was driving my sister's car, which was a Florida car, and it had to be inspected. Okay, and no, leave the kitty alone. Pandora, no. So my mom had this car, or my sister's car, and so it needed to be inspected. So my mom was taking it down to the shop to get it inspected. Got there and a guy said, you have to remove the window tint because if the tinting is too dark, it's not going to pass inspection. That's got to be removed first before we can inspect the car. So my mom said fine. So she was on her way back to my sister's place and got pulled over, explained to the cop why the car wasn't inspected, what she was doing. She was just at the garage, and what she had to do. So what does he do? Instead of saying, okay, we'll take care of it and da-da-da, no, of course not. He gives her a ticket. So she had to go to court for this ticket. And so she goes before the judge. That was this week. And so the judge says, well, how do you plead? And she says, not guilty. And so, he says, well, would you like a trial, or would you just like to, go before me here? And she said, I'll just go before you. She goes, can I speak with you? And he said, sure. So she explained the situation and what had happened and stuff like that. Now, here's another thing, guys, I want you to remember. My mom is 75 years old, okay? So it's not like, and she'll actually be 76 here next month. It's not like she's, some young punk out driving their car uninspected and stuff like that. And she was literally coming back from the garage, and she explained this to the cop, and he still gave her the ticket. So she goes before the judge, and so she explains the situation to the judge. Now, he said the fine alone would have been $125. Now, how crazy is that for an uninspected vehicle? So there's overreach right there. These fines that they have nowadays are absolutely insane, what they're charging people. So he said, well, listen, he goes, I'm going to go ahead and drop that, but you still have to pay the surcharge for the court, which was $25. So instead of just throwing the whole thing out, which is what he should have done in the first place, like I said, there's no blatant trying to get around or skirt the law or anything. She explained the situation, and she still ended up having to pay the surcharge for the court. What it comes down to in that aspect, guys, with these tickets and stuff like that, it's all about revenue. And I've talked about that before. The police nowadays are not about serving and protecting. They're revenue collectors for the local governments to put money in their pockets and put money in the state's pockets. So you're trying to get money in the town and also money in the state. I go back to what had happened to me when the one town that I used to work in, they had set up a thing where they busted a whole bunch of people for rolling through this particular stop sign. And when I worked that night, I think 8 of the other people besides myself, got a ticket for rolling through the stop sign. Now, did I roll through the stop sign? Probably, okay. But it was a stop sign that was like, up on a hill. There was no, you'd roll up, you'd look, nothing's coming, and you'd just go. And how many of us roll through stop signs all the time anyway? I mean, I know I'm guilty of it too, okay? So I went to court, and back in the day when I was like in my 20s, you would go to court and they would say, because realistically at the end of the day they want the revenue, okay? That's what they want. So back in the day you'd go to court and the DA would say, well, listen, if you plead to bald tires, it's no points, and it's going to be, you're just going to get this fine. Fine. No, they don't do that anymore. They had this thing that I had to go through the regular county where you had to I had to do the 6-hour course online, pay for that, and once you paid for that, then the points were not charged to your license, and you just got this whatever amount of the fine was, which was like $175 or some crazy stuff for rolling through a stop sign. I mean, it was absolutely insane, but it was a scam, and it was set up, and there was nothing you could do about it. You either eat the ticket and take the points, which affects your license, or you go through their rigmarole of nonsense. Either way, you're paying a fine. So, but it was nuts. So I did their process, and I just said to myself, the next time I'm just going to eat the ticket and take the fine and take the points, because I would not go through that nonsense again. So anyway, huh? Oh, I did it all in one day. Yeah, yeah. So anyway, so it just there's a lot of the system is set up now not to help us. It's set up to collect revenue for the local governments, for the state, and that type of thing. So that's what drives me nuts more than anything else. So anyway, I'm going to show you guys this real quick here too. So we weeded in the garden the other day, and then I had 5 bags of mulch that we had gotten, and I put them in through the garden through on this point over here. So I need to go pick up more mulch, but we got things weeded out really nicely. And like I said, adding that mulch, the wood chips are not going to go in there. Okay, I'm not going to put the wood chips in there at all. And but I started spreading this out. As you can see, that's all spread out there a little bit. I obviously have to do more of that. I've been working on the driveway. I put more stone in the driveway today. I put let's see, altogether there was I've done 10 loads of stone, so 8 of them went into the driveway, and then the other 3 I ended up adding onto our path over here. Or the 2, I'm sorry, went on the path over here. So I still got a lot of stone, as you can see, and I started spreading that stone out too, and they're just having a good old time. I started spreading out this stone as well here, because there was a empty spot here as well. So I started spreading that out. Like I said, I want to have this so that if somebody could pull in, that 2 cars could pull in side by side. So I'm going to put a little bit more stone over in this area here as well. But that's no big deal. It's going to take me but a minute to do that. But anyway, so that's what's happening here at the homestead. We've had some rain today, kind of overcast. We've still pulled in 3.6 kilowatt hours today. And so that was, not bad. It was raining this morning, rained a little bit more this afternoon. It's just one of those kind of days, but what are you going to do? Anyhow, so I definitely want your feedback on the topic of the video. What do you think of the executive orders, of the number of controls that they have? And if you want to go check it out, it's February 16th, 1962. that President Kennedy put that executive order in. And then also, like I said, President Clinton rectified it. So just, look up in case of a national emergency what those controls are that the government has. And, do you guys think that there's too much overreach? Do you think that there's too much revenue collecting going on with the police? I mean, it's a crazy, crazy situation out there nowadays. But anyway, guys, listen. I'm going to kick around here so you can see the puppies playing. This is what they do. They just love to get out here and run, and then they just play and play and play. Anyhow, I will talk to you guys all tomorrow. Remember, guys, hug and kiss the ones you love. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. We never know what's going to happen. Anything can happen. So it's, to tell the people how you feel is very, very important. And remember, guys, STD. It's one step at a time, one thing at a time, and one day at a time. Whatever you're trying to do, whatever you're trying to accomplish, you can do it. The only one that's going to stop you from getting there, guys, is yourself. That's it. Nobody else can do it, okay? So keep working at things methodically, and they will get done. And I will talk to you guys all tomorrow. Prepper Nurse 1, out for now.